Hi everyone. What I wanted to answer today was one question. We hear a lot about 3D printing, Fab Lab, Makerspace, but it's not exactly clear what this is all about and how it can impact your life really. What we often see, for example, for 3D printing is printing Yoda head. So if you see the 3D printer behind, you can see that's one of the things you can print. So it's nice, it's pretty, but it's not really useful. So can it be useful 3D printing for something in your home? So when I think about hacking things in my home, I think more about IKEA and that kind of thing. So drills, it's not that kind of thing. And when we think about Fab Lab, we think more about little 3D printing, little circuit. How can we combine everything together? That's what I want to answer today. So here's my kitchen. Here I think I was trying to install a dishwasher. My girlfriend was in a weekend and I wanted to surprise her with this little installation. And here I think it was like Sunday evening. Her train was arriving like half an hour later and it was a mess in the kitchen. So here it was a former place for pots and pans. It was here, and here I'm supposed to put a dishwasher. Never do that kind of things before leaving for holidays, because for 2 weeks I was afraid there was a leak in my kitchen and I would come back with water everywhere. So at the end, I was stuck with these problems. I had a dishwasher over here, but I had these pans and I didn't know where to put them. So they were here prior to this, and now this space was not available anymore. So I had some other space in my kitchen, so I used this space to put the pans. But as you can see, it's not really practical. Obviously, you always need this pan when it's on the bottom, and you have to fiddle everything. You wake up early in the morning, you make some noise, so it wasn't very practical. So what I wanted to do, obviously, was to hook the pans below there. So I think, oh, easy, I just have to buy some hooks. So I went to IKEA. Well, I went on internet. And I checked if there was some hooks okay for my pans. So this one looks nice, but it's a bit big. This one is nice, but it's supposed to be on a wall and not under surface. So I did browse all IKEA, and at the end I didn't find anything. So I thought, okay, maybe I should try Hobby or another place to buy the kind of things. And I thought, okay, but I'm a member of our local Fab Lab in Neuchâtel, so maybe I could try to print it. Oh, at least a useful use of this. So what I did was to go on Syngivers. So Syngivers is a website. If you don't know how to 3D print, how to model things, you can just browse a library of existing models. So here you can enter a search term. So you just type hook pans, and there we are. You find 3 examples, and this one looks perfect for us. It's below the surface. It's perfect for small holes. So you just go over there, and it's on Creative Commons. You can download it. You can see that the guy did an update after 6 months. So I'm gonna download the last batch of the things. And then you open a 3D software to make. So here you can see your piece. So it's called Cure. It's one of the many options available to you. So it's not very difficult. And you just click print. And here I don't, okay, what did I do? Here I don't have any printers going on, but if you go behind, you can see there is one. And I was very surprised because it was my first real-life use of a 3D printer. And from the need of having a hook to having the hook 3D printed, it was like, 20-minute works. and obviously 2 weeks wait because I had to go to Neuchâtel because I live in Lausanne. And I was very happy because it's not a very interesting piece at the end, it's just a piece of plastic, but it fulfilled a need I had, so I was quite happy about it. So you can see, yes, keynote, oops. See here it's printing, and it's like an inkjet printer, but at the end it's very, very tough. You can. So you really have to put a lot of effort to break it, and for pans up to 2 kilos, it's okay. Yeah, maybe with 2. So you can see how it's printed. Inside it's hollow, so maybe if you put more, it's more dense inside, maybe it's tougher. And see here you can see how it's printed layer after layers. And at the end, I had my pants suspended into these hooks, and everything is neat and clean. So for 3D printing, of course, you can choose your color, or forget that you have run out of orange and have a white one, but I think it brings some rhythm to the kitchen. So, end of the day, everyone is happy. Happy, not exactly, because if you look just down there, I have a lot of leads for my pans, and it's a bit messy too. So maybe I could fix them over the wall, but here you can see that it's a really hard to drill holes into that kind of things. You run the risk to break the wall. So I wanted something a bit softer, a bit gentler. And here I was browsing on internet, procrastinating because I didn't have any idea how to solve this. And I did receive a newsletter about a company I love, which is called Sugru. So Sugru is that kind of thing. What is Sugru? Sugru is a kind of paste that you can turn into shapes like you do with Play-Doh. So here is the website, you can check it after there, and you can form it into things. You let it dry on the wall for like a day, and after you can fix things in it. So people all over the world use it to fix shoes, fix things in the kitchen, or everything you want to do with that. And the cool thing is they have a nice gallery of things you can do with Sugru to find a lot of inspiration. And in the newsletter on this month, this is what I did receive. It was an example of what you can do with Sugru, and it was exactly what I wanted to do. So it was not exactly the same week, it was like a few months before, but I remember it, and I went on the website and I found this, and I thought, oh, easy, just do the same thing. So here I am in my kitchen trying to fix, I'm Swiss, so right and neat. Okay, I'm not exactly Swiss, but anyway. And there you are. And here, what is interesting is that we saw that prior to this, I used 3D printer. It's a bit complicated. It's very high-tech. And just after that, I can fix another problem with something which is more hands-on, and it fulfills the purpose perfectly. And it still works. It's interesting. If you see inside the Sugru, it's not 100% Sugru. There is a little nail, which helps the Sugru to be more tough and more solid. And I fell in love with Sugru. There are many uses of Sugru all over my house, here in the kitchen. Also, you can fix clothes. You can fix a lot of things. Here, for example, it's a Daya kettle, electric kettle. There was a hole inside, and she fixed the hole with a patch of Sugru. And now it's mostly working, not perfectly.
And it's been a year that it's like that, so it holds. Huh? I didn't change it, so it's really very practical.
Yeah. So I really love Sugru, and today we wanted to share the love. So if you look under the table, which is in front of you.
And if you cannot see, so each of you should get 1 pack of Sugru. It's a little gift. So, and just make it. So if they're at the back, you have some other guys. I think there are lots of Sugrus that they're glued underneath. So if you can just turn around and give it to the others that they didn't get it. So because the wonderful. So the idea of those packages is that we're going to ask you to find something at your home and fix it, because we all know that it's better to fix things than buy new things, aren't we? So during this weekend, please fix something, take picture, and there's going to be a little contest. It's the comptoir, so the place here, who's going to offer you a dinner in the amount of 100 Swiss francs. So please be creative, find things to fix with those Sugrus, and post the picture on our website, our fan page on Facebook. So you're welcome to do something really cool, and we're looking forward to see your pictures. So contest during this weekend, and Monday, Tuesday, I think we're going to do the selection and see who gets the prize. Thank you.
There will be some links at the end of the presentation with links to Sugru website and Sugru gallery to find some inspiration. Just a bit of recommendation. Don't open the little thing yet, because once it's exposed to the air, it dries, obviously, and it cures in about 10 to 24 hours, depending on the volume. And you can keep it up to a few months, but as Daria said, you should keep it up to a few days to try to hack something during the weekend. So here we are. We can see that we have two super tools for makers at our disposal. 3D printing, you can print little things. Sugru at the other side of the universe, more hands-on, and now everything is perfect in our kitchen. I have pans neatly organized, lids neatly organized. Everything is perfect. And you don't have always to use Sugru. Here I had a small lid, so I just put a nail inside it, and it was perfect. So is everything perfect? Yeah, not exactly. If you just go a little bit above, you can see that I have a bit of a problem with my microwave. I have, yeah, and you know, it's clean. Yeah. And here you can see that I use the things to turn the button manually, and it's not very useful. So what we could do, now that we know that we have this tool at our disposal, a 3D printer, what we could do is just 3D print a knob. Two difficulties for that. One, it's not that tough. Okay, maybe I could make it tougher. And two, printing in 3D, it's a bit long, and it's sometimes a bit hard to model things for people who are not used with it. So if you go in the breakfast room, you can see the speed, and I guess that to print a nice button for this, it will be like maybe 2 hours, and you have to have a bit of knowledge. It's doable, but I wanted something more fast, more quick. So what I started to do was to take measure. So this tool over there, it's if you need only one tool, buy this one. Every other tool, you can find it in a Fab Lab, also this one, but it's very useful to have one at home to measure things, do plans, and then go to your Fab Lab to build things. So here I take every measure that I need. And here I'm going to use another technique. So here you go in your favorite software to draw things. And I do a little replacement knob. So here we can see the hole, and here it fits inside the big hole. And then you head to a Fab Lab where you have another super tool at your disposal. If you just have to remember one thing from this morning, is that, okay, 3D printers are great, but there are many, many other tools which are more great. And here it's a laser cutter. It's just a gift from God. So it's a little piece of plastic, and you just give it your plan that you did in Illustrator before, and it's real time, so it's pretty fast. So instead of having to wait like 2 hours to 3D print your knob, you can just cut it in, I don't know, 40 seconds, I guess. And you can do a lot of them if you have other friends with microwaves with the exact same knob. So if you happen to have the same microwave, I have 3 pieces left for you. And as you can see, it fits perfectly. And here we are with our nice microwave. Okay, here it was a piece of fruit because it was a bit nicer, and it's hard to take pictures with this transparent plexiglass. So think about it. You don't have just 3D printer to the things in your home or in your life. You also have these very cool tools, and the cool thing is that with 3D printer, it's usually shitty plastic, so it's nice, it's bright, but it's not very, yeah, that's nice of a material. And here you can cut plexiglass or wood like this, and it's really nice. And here it was oak, so now when I use my microwave, my hands smell like whiskey because oak is burnt, and so there is a burnt wood flavor in my kitchen. So now everything is nice kitchen with everything is neatly organized. I have a functioning microwave, but at the end, if we are in our kitchen, it's not to fix things, it's to cook things. So how can cooking benefit from tools at our disposition in Fab Lab or in life, for example? And I had one particular problem I wanted to do. It was like 2 years ago. I wanted to cook some eggs with truffles. So it's really nice, but truffles are a bit expensive. So you want to be sure that you don't mess with your eggs. Sorry, it wasn't planned. And you know, I had many people at home coming for the supper, and I didn't want to be running to and from my kitchen. So what I did is I used a little device that I bought at my former university, which is a chemistry device that you saw in the breakfast room. So that's the thing we use to have our eggs this morning. And the cool thing is that with electronics, you can precisely control the temperature to cook your eggs. And so what you can now see is that I cooked the eggs yesterday evening at 63 degrees Celsius. And they were perfectly cooked after that. And now this morning, I just had to reheat them to 53 degrees Celsius. And now they can stay warm and good and nice for a few hours. So if you didn't have any eggs and you are still hungry after the talks, you can go back to the breakfast room and have some. And the nice thing is there won't be any lost because they can stay warm for many hours. So I will bring them home if you don't eat them all, and we can have them during the weekend. So it's a cool technique, but the only thing is, you know, the breakfast room is over there, and I'm not really sure that they stay at the perfect temperature. So I wondered, maybe I could use some kind of tools, you know, to monitor things around. So there is a last tool that we use a lot in the Fab Lab. It's called Arduino. So I will switch to this. Okay, so Arduino is this little circuit over there, and basically what is Arduino? Arduino, it's really nothing exciting. It's just this little thing. So it's like, I guess, a 10 cents piece of circuit. And basically it's a processor, so it's like the same kind of thing that you have inside your computer, but cheaper and less powerful, and very, very cheap. So it has been around for decades. So maybe like 20 years ago, I could have done the same thing that I will show you now, but it was complicated. Why was it complicated? Because you had to use more hardware to connect the thing to your circuit, and you have to program it. And to program it, you have to have a special piece of hardware to program it, and then you have to buy many components. And the nice things with Arduino, which is a circuit we come over there, and is the fact that it's the exact same piece of processor, but with many things around, which helps you to do things very, very easily. And I'm not an electrician, and I just had to go on internet and check monitor temperature with an Arduino. And where is it? It's this one. And then you can follow tutorials. Down here, it's another resource you will find in the note after the talk. So it's Adafruit. You can buy things over there. It's a bit expensive to Switzerland because you have to pay a lot of taxes. I will give you another address if you want. But the nice thing they have is they sell a bit of circuits like this one, and they have very, very nice tutorials. And here what we have to realize is that there is nothing new with 3D printer, laser cutter, electric circuitry. There is nothing really new. What is new is the fact that around all of those tools, we have communities. As we saw for Sugru, there are communities to inspire you, to tell you how you can use it to fix things in your kitchen or in your life. And here, microprocessor has been around for decades, but like 5 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to do what I did today because it was complicated. It was really doable, but it was complicated. There, I just went on Adafruit learning system. I type temperature monitor, something like that, and I found this nice tutorial. And you just have to follow the instructions, so it's really easy. Maybe I can browse a bit with you if I have it over there. Yeah, you just follow instruction, you download the program, you go on Amazon Web Services, you do some kind of commits. Okay, sometimes you're a bit stressed, so you go to Mark to ask him to help you with programming stuff. But at the end, I was able to do it mostly all by myself. And at the end, what you have is, so here we have our Arduino. Here we have another little piece of hardware over there. It's a Wi-Fi chip, and it communicates with the Arduino things. And here you can see this cable. It's this little probe, and the water goes into my circuit. Perfect. And then with the Wi-Fi, you can go to my cell phone, which is connected to internet. And so the nice things is you can program it. You don't really program it. You just download the thing and adapt it to your need. And you can go on. You can do a website. So if you want to go, you can go. It's live right now. So xavieralexandre.org/eggs. And now we know that the temperature in this glass is exactly 24 degrees Celsius. And if I just plunge it into this more hotter water glass and we wait a bit, Amazon Web Services can be expensive, so I had to slow down a bit the things. We wait, so it was, last time was 30 seconds ago, so maybe if we wait a bit, finger crossed, demo effect. Yes, it's getting higher. So now when I want to cook eggs, or maybe you can not only cook eggs, but you can also cook roast or chicken, I can put it in my water bath in the morning. I can monitor everything during the day. So while I'm working, I'm sure everything is in control. And when I come back in the evening, everything is it's perfect. So. And of course, the next step is not only to monitor things, but to control them. So here I have two circuits, one to control the temperature bath and one to monitor it. And of course, I should do one to do both things. So I could be at the office and say, okay, maybe a bit more cooked, the chicken. So really what we saw right now is all the tools you have at your dispositions to do things. All those tools are mostly available on internet, so you can just go over on Adafruit or another place and order them. But sometimes it can be a bit tough to learn about all those things, and a few things are quite expensive. So for example, here it's our Fab Lab in Neuchâtel. So here it's a laser cutter we saw earlier on. It's a bit expensive. It's like 20,000 grams. A 3D printer, it's less expensive, but for some people it can be hard to start with. And what I'm saying is that you can check if you have Fab Lab around your place. There are more and more every year. And here you can have access to tools. But as I said, the important thing is not really the tools, is people around the tools, the community on Sugru to give you inspiration, the community on Adafruit writing tutorials, and the community inside the Fab Lab to help you. So here's Gaëtan. Gaëtan is a Fab Lab manager in Neuchâtel. And when I arrived, it was like last year. I had never used a 3D printer in my life. So this is a 3D printer we use at the Fab Lab. And he told me how to use it. And now I'm able to teach people how to use it. And we even organized some workshops on different pieces of software, different technique. And the other nice thing is that we have many tools, like this one, a laser cutter. And here you can see it's a different kind of 3D printer, stereolithography. It's a bit different, so it can be interesting, for example, for jewelry maker, because it's more precise and you can cast wax with it. So what I wanted to do this morning was to show you that 3D printer are nice. You can do very solid things. We should try again. No. He hurt himself, so it was a bit tough. Okay. 3D printers, laser cutter to fix your microwave. If you have the exact same problem as me, you can grab some of these hooks. I have 5 of them, 3 for you. And also Arduino and a community around that to help you things around you. And if you have any questions, how do I start with this? I have a few resources to show you. This book is quite nice, so if you want to check it afterwards, it was written by Chris Anderson. And at the end of my slides that I will give you, you have some links. So how to get inspired about makers, what exactly is a Fab Lab, things about Arduino and electronics. So here is the exact same tutorial I used to do this circuit to monitor the temperature. Here are things around 3D printing, laser cutting, Sugru, and food. Yeah, because if you are interested into sous vide cooking and boiling eggs at precise temperature. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Xavier. Now, questions. Do we have some questions? Oh yeah, true. Go for it. Yeah. So now we are tweeting. No questions. So anyone has any questions? I'm gonna give you the mic. Yeah. Well, can you just pass it? You missed enough there.
Hi, Xavier. That was absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much. If you're inspired to do any of this stuff, I know here in Geneva there is both a Fab Lab and a hackerspace. I'm from the hackerspace side. And I know in the Fab Lab they have laser cutters, 3D printers. I'm not sure if there's anyone here from that, then please jump up and say. In the hackerspace we have 3D printers, a laser cutter that is more or less working. Let's say it came with some interesting Chinese software that is so cool it needs you to move the mouse continuously or it won't cut, which is a little scary. And we also have a CNC machine. So a lot of those things there you can dive straight in, play with. And we've done many of the same things. We've got coat hooks in the all over the hackerspace, 3D printed. We've got beer coasters made with either wood or plastic or metal on the CNC. So this is Post-Tenebras Lab is the hackerspace here in Geneva. Just search for Geneva Hackerspace or Geneva Fab Lab, whatever you fancy. I don't mind, just go make stuff. It's fun. Okay. We have an open evening every Tuesday. If you're up near Lausanne, then there is another one called Fix Me. They have an open evening every Wednesday. I suggest you go there. And obviously, if you're in Neuchâtel, then go and see the Fab Lab in Neuchâtel, which is also really cool. And they do some really amazing things with melted glass and all sorts of crazy stuff I've seen there. So if you're inspired, there's lots of people right here to get you moving. Thank you.
Any other questions? Or somebody wants to say something? You have.
All right, so my question is, you know that we live in a culture of buying stuff. Mm-hmm. What do you think we need to be in a culture where we make stuff instead of buying everything we need?
Yeah, I'm a bit doubtful about it. Maybe it will happen, but you have to have at least a bit of curiosity and skill. So it's not very difficult. I started the circuit like a week ago, and I just have to order a few pieces on the internet and follow the instructions. So it's not that hard. So people can do a lot of things, but I'm a bit doubtful that people will do it. And it's also a bit expensive. It's cheaper if you want to do a very, very special things that you could not find at a shopping mall, for example. So if you have this need, this custom need, then it's cheap. But if you want the same thing as everyone, for example, you just want an electric kettle, it's going to cost you lots more to do it by yourself. So I'm a bit doubtful about it, but maybe there is a little way. I showed you earlier on the things called Syngivers. So it was already here. So as I said, it's a library of things you can buy. And the nice thing is you can go on a website like shapeways.com, which is a print-on-demand platform. So you can just give them your things, and you don't even have to model it yourself, because you can just go on the you can just go on the website and you can buy it. And if you want, you can customize it. So maybe I'm more a believer of this middleware where you go somewhere where you find something, you customize it a bit, and someone else print it for you or does it for you. But I'm a bit doubtful right now, but maybe I will be wrong, that everyone will be modeling their own stuff in a few years, but we'll see.
So that would be the perspective of the designer, right? You are a designer, you make an object, even if you are just a person, but you're still designing the object. What about the other way around? So there is a designer somewhere, and then you just download the files, you have a printer. Do you think that's going to happen sometime soon, or?
That's exactly what is happening on Syngivers. So here in Syngivers, you have many people just putting things on disposition of other people. So here is this nice polygon pusher guy who did the hooks, and I just download it and print it on my own 3D printer. Well, the one at the Fab Lab. So
for that, you don't need any knowledge. You just download, you send it to print, and then
yes,
the thing does it by itself, right?
Yes, exactly. So I think this middle ground where you just designers put things at disposal and you grab them and print them at home or with another services has a bright future, and it's already existing at the end.
Thank you. Someone else? Questions? Come on. Don't be shy. We have a question here.
More of a bit of information. Actually, there's an issue right now with people starting to use 3D printers to make 3D guns and then carrying them in planes, and because they're made out of plastic, they can't be detected. And there was a documentary on that, and law enforcement were able to make a 3D gun with a printer like that and shoot 4 bullets with it.
I'm not that worried about it. Mostly, I think a lot of people talk about it because most journalists who talk about 3D printers have never used one, so they don't see the shortcomings of 3D printers. And if you are into doing your own guns, it was already doable like for decades. You can just go at Brico, buy some pipes and do a gun. This one is a bit different because it's in plastic, so you cannot detect it. But at the end, if you want to harm people, it has been possible for years. So maybe you can do it a bit faster and on planes. But yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Human imagination for hurting other humans is unlimited.
And if you look for that, there was one guy, it was like last week, he went to the airport without anything. He buys things at the free store behind the gate, and he was able to do kind of guns with like Pringles tube, a bottle of vodka he bought, and that kind of things. And he was able to make a gun. So if you really want the guns, you can do it also with 3D printers, but I don't think it's a menace.
You could buy Swiss Army knives at the Geneva airport past the security check not too long ago, so whatever. What I find really interesting about some of the 3D printers, in particular the older generation ones, is that you used a 3D printer to make parts for your 3D printer. Now you can buy them almost completely assembled out of very standard parts that you don't have to make anymore. But it's interesting to see how the printer itself can be used to make the printer itself in part.
I was at the ROM Maker Fair like 2 months ago, and there were some people printing 3D printers from 3D printers, and they are really able to improve the quality generation after generation. So it's a bit, it's more philosophical, that's really useful because it's a bit a long process, but it's doable and it's really interesting.
Do you have a chance to see how children react to these possibilities?
Yes. At Neuchâtel Fab Lab, we organize some workshops towards young people about 7 to 12 years old. And if you don't explain them before that it's complicated, they don't know it, so they just do the things. And there are really, really a lot of resources which are really nice to follow. This circuit that I show you with Arduino, it's like working with Lego. So you just don't have just bricks, you have those little wires that you have to plug into holes, but basically they're the same things. And young people react, oh my God. And people react very, very nicely to it. So it's a great educational tool, and you even have some children doing their own toys. So it's an opportunity, clearly.
Hi, Xavier. Thanks for the very inspiring talk. I'd like to ask if you could tell us a bit about the types of business models that can be generated through this attitude. You showed us some Creative Commons downloadable resources which don't generate direct economy, but you showed us another a website where you can pay and download and then hack?
So I will talk about two models. The one is the one you just mentioned, which is, for example, Shapeways, but there are a lot of other models. I think the guy from the Fab Lab have a business model similar to Shapeways. Where was Shapeways? Is this one? So if you're a designer, you can put design online, and they can be free. Or okay, it's bacon. More interesting DNA or here Möbius strip or that kind of things. And I know that there are people living from there, from selling things on Shapeways, and obviously Shapeways take a cut from here. So here we have two business. Shapeways itself does a lot of money by printing things, and designers, I guess they make less money, but anyway. So that's one of the business model. The other business model I hear a lot about is, for example, let's say the circuits that I did over there with the Arduino things interest a lot of people. Many people use that kind of tools to prototype things. So I can tinker with my Arduino, I can find the right equilibrium between design and other considerations. And once I'm happy with my design, I can use only this piece of processor to do a much more cheaper design. So here I think it will be around 50 francs, my design. But if you want to design it cheaply, you can design the same thing for like 5 francs, I guess. And so what you see on platform like Kickstarter is a lot of those things. People prototyping things with laser cutters, 3D printers, Arduino. And where they are happy about it, they try to produce it at a higher scale for cheaper. And there are a lot of business starting with them. If you're interested, I get that in the notes I have the example of the Glyph, which is a 3D printed things to hold your iPhone on a tripod. And they explain how they get from the initial idea to a business.
I've seen two different uses of 3D printing in very lucrative models. One has been around for some time, actually. If you play the game World of Warcraft, you have a character that's a 3D character that's modelized out of very simple shapes. And there's this company, I don't remember the name, but I can find out if somebody sends me an email or posts it on the Facebook page, I'll give the link. You give them the name of your account and your character on the account. They get the 3D model from the database, and they will print a 3D character of your character with all its gear on, the way you play it. So that's one thing. And the other one I've seen, there's a company that if you give them a few photographs of you and your wife-to-be, they will print a 3D figure of you and your wife to put on the wedding cake. And it's really you and your wife, instead of just the plastic thing of somebody you don't know. So that's a model that works, actually.
All right. We have one last question.
Yeah, just I heard that we can print food. Do you think one day we will be able to print pizzas at home?
Actually, there are projects about that. One is funded by NASA, so it has some interest. I'm not convinced it's really interesting. Most projects I saw around this idea was nice because you could print your own name on top of the pizza. So it's nice, but it's not really interesting. More interesting, I think, is exploration when you really create new kind of food with a 3D printer. And right now there is an interesting experience where I don't know if you read Boris Vian, L'écume des jours. There is a piano cocktail inside. So basically it's a piano, and depending on what type of song do you play, it makes a cocktail. Some people did these kind of things and it works, so it's nice because you can do your own custom cocktail. And there is equivalent for food. So maybe you like that kind of pasta, but you are gluten intolerant, so you want to try to print your own pasta. Maybe it will be doable. Right now, I don't think it's worth it from an economic point of view, but there are projects around it. And when I was at World Maker Fair, there were people printing chocolate cake. So, yes.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Xavier.